All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning a new unit. This is our Unit 2 introduction. So, welcome to Unit 2. Our new unit is called Ratio Reasoning. So, that is our ultimate goal, is to learn how to reason with ratios. Ratio reasoning. All right, this is where our treasure comes in. And so, let's talk about these two words and then we'll talk about why this is our goal. So, ratio. The word ratio in sixth grade really is referring to fractions. Okay? It's also just referring to how we can write numbers in different ways, but specifically fractions. Don't worry, it's not as scary as it seems, I promise. The second word, reasoning, means to think through or to think about. We're going to be thinking through. We're going to use our brains to make some connections and think through fractions. So that is our basic goal. And don't forget, with our pirate theme, one of the most important parts of our pirate theme is knowing what our goal is for the unit. How do we get the treasure? And in this case, the treasure is our ratio reasoning. All right, that's supposed to be a treasure chest right there. Hopefully, it looks like it because you guys know how amazing I am at drawing. There's our treasure chest. So that is where our map is leading to. We want our map to lead right here to ratio reasoning. Okay? Which means thinking through fractions. With that being said, make sure that you are writing these things down in the portion of your notes that says Ed Puzzle. So if you haven't done this yet, pause the video and write down these two terms so that you can understand what our unit is about. So now let's talk about our learning targets. We have 11 this time. The last unit we had 6. This time we have 11 learning targets. There's a lot going on, but they're very simple. So I think you guys are going to do great with them. So let's talk about this map. As you can see, I drew my little lines here so that we know our map is all eventually reaching to where we will find our treasure, which is ratio reasoning. That is our end goal, is for you to be able to reason with ratios. Okay, that's really important. So here is our learning map for this unit. So let's talk about it. Here's our first learning target. Our first learning target is to find the greatest common factor. Okay, and don't forget, you have all of these right here. Here are your learning skills. This is how you find the greatest common factor. So don't forget, on your own learning map, which I'm giving you guys for your notebooks, this target tells me what we need to know, which is greatest common factor. And then this right here, this list, tells me how we're going to get to know that. So you have your target right here. Okay, that is your learning target. And here are your skills, your learning skills. Okay, so those are the learning skills. So the first thing we have to do is learn how to find the greatest common factor. Well, why? Why does that matter? Well, I wanted to show you this really quick too. I added this to our learning map this time. I wanted to show you what a level 4 question would look like for every one of our learning targets. So here's our learning target, and here's what a level 4 would look like. So if you can meet that learning target, you can do this problem. And never to fear, this problem is going to be on your summative exit card. So if you want to meet this, you have to do these 3 skills right here. And you'll know if you can do those 3 skills if you can answer this question. Okay? All right, so our first learning target is finding greatest common factor. But why? Well, this is one of the largest pieces of our unit, is right here, dividing fractions. In fact, you'll see it several times, dividing mixed numbers with fractions, dividing fractions through word problems, okay? And I have some examples for you If you can divide fractions, you can answer a question like this. 1/5 divided by 1/2. If you can divide fractions with mixed numbers, then you can answer something like this. And if you can divide fractions through word problems, then you can take a word problem like this and answer the questions. Okay, so what does this have to do with anything? Well, really our biggest goal for this chapter is dividing fractions. That is our biggest goal. Now we have some other ones and we will talk about that. But one of our biggest goals is dividing fractions. So I really want you guys to write this down. It's really important that you write it down. So what are our goals or our targets for this chapter? Or sorry, for this unit? Dividing fractions would definitely be one of them. Okay. And we can do that with fractions. We can do that with mixed numbers. Right? And we'll talk a little bit more about that. We will talk about it. Or you could do it even through word problems. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that we're going to learn to divide fractions. One of the other things that you're going to have to do is you're also going to have to simplify fractions, which the old school way is saying reduce them. So that's why you need GCF, because you're going to have to learn how to simplify fractions, which you already have in 3rd and 4th grade, but we're going to take a little bit more time to work on it. Okay, so the biggest goal for this unit is dividing fractions. We're going to work with fractions, mixed numbers, word problems, and you're also going to learn how to simplify fractions. Okay. One of the other learning targets that I wanted to focus on, let's go way down here, is using the distributive property, right? Well, what does that look like? Well, I'll show you. If you can do something like this, where 99 plus 72 is the same as 9 times 11 plus 9 times some other number. Okay, so we're going to be working with the distributive property. Let's write that down also. So I'm going to put my box here. We're going to be working with the distributive property. Okay, that's going to be important for us, because this is a property that you were going to have to use in 7th and 8th grade all the way through high school. So distributive property is another one. Okay, so we're not only going to be dividing fractions, we're going to be working with distributive property. So we're going to be working with equations. We're going to get into algebra, you guys. I'm so excited. All right, let's keep going here. Oh, do you see this right here? We're going to add decimals. We're going to subtract decimals. We're going to multiply decimals. And remember, I have all the level 4 questions, and we're going to divide decimals. So that's another key, another goal in our unit is we're going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide decimals. Okay, so those are our 3 key goals for this unit. We're going to be dividing fractions, we're going to be working with the distributive property, and we're going to be adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. Those are our big 3 takeaways. There's some other little things we're going to be working on, but those are our big 3 takeaways. And then don't forget, you guys, this learning map that I have here that's going to go on my back wall. Don't forget all of these pieces right here. These are always the skills, the learning skills, okay? What are those things you need to do to meet this learning target? And if we meet all of our learning targets, then we meet our standards for this, our goal, which is ratio reasoning, okay? We're going to do those things this unit through these major topics: dividing fractions, distributive property, and adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. So you're going to want to stick around. Make sure you're here because we have a lot to do in a little bit of time. But you guys did a tremendous job this last unit. So unit 2 should be a walk in the park for you guys. All right, let's go ahead and move on. to our next activity as soon as you're done with this.